Okay, as promised, we're going to be going over, in a series of videos, we're going to be going over the answers to the test. The format is, these are the answers to the first five. We'll see how much I can get in one video. And I'm going to do them one by one. You're going to have your copy of the test in front of you, one way or the other, if you want to do this right and you want to see how I came up with all the answers. So let's start with number one. And when I read off the question, it says a right triangular prism has how many lateral faces? Well, we talked about that again and again. So I'll do it really quick. There's really no need, because you could look at problem number 10 and see the same thing. What does lateral mean? It means coastal. It means sideways. So there are 1, 2, 3 sides, and that turns out to be number 3. By the way, remember that the numbered problems are Regents problems, and the lettered problems are either from the Common Core test or from one of the workbooks or textbooks that you were given last year. Okay, so that's done. It's more of a definition problem than anything else. And then in number 2, you see this netting. We explained it to you while we were still in class. And if you put the netting together in your head, or you should recognize it from 7th grade, it turns out to be a rectangular prism. So number 1 and 2 are just asking if you know what the words mean. Just common sense questions. Regents questions, it's true, because that has a numerical answer, but really no big problem. Okay, so now we have to come up with letter C on the next one, and it says, what is the closest, there we talked about rounding, amount of water that fills a spherical balloon. All you have to understand is the word sphere with a diameter of 6 inches. So I make sure I have my calculator handy, and I look at everything is to the cubed power. So since it's multiple choice, it makes it even easier to do. So if D is 6, R is 3. And I multiply the formula out that you have handy, and there's R cubed. And then we write out 4 over 3 pi 333. Again, I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, since it will work out very good for us. And this is 3 times 3 is 9 times 4, and I come up with the answer of 36 pi. You should be able to do that. There's really no excuse. I look at the, and that would be, in this case, inches cubed. But since I don't see that letter from a Common Core test, as you can see, it's ABC, I just multiplied 36, getting it on here, 36 times pi, and that should come up with the correct number. And there it is, 113 and whatever change. Who cares? The other answers are miles apart. Okay? So the first 2 questions are ELA or ELA, word meaning, concept kinds of questions. Number 3 is a calculation problem that you did many times, and most people got them. You should have gotten them. There was nothing in these questions that was challenging you in any way whatsoever. So now we go on to the next one, and this is number 4. And we look at number 4, and it says a cylinder has one lateral face. What is the shape of its face? So I draw a cylinder, and here there's actually a little bit of ambiguity. When I peel off the label, of course, I get a rectangle, but it's conceivable that you get a square. So anybody who marks square, and I marked them wrong, you could probably have cause to protest, because if the circumference with 2 pi r and the height equal 2 pi r, I guess you could get number 2. I don't think people made that mistake. The intent of the problem is very clear. I peel off the lateral area, and out pops a rectangle, and most of you got that problem correct as well. The other 2 choices make no sense, especially the circle choice, because that's clearly not lateral. That's the top or the bottom, no matter which way you look at it. Okay, and number 5 is a Common Core test question. You have a swimming pool, okay, and they say that the height is 4.5 feet, And then remember, again, they're playing games here. It's a cylinder shape, 4.5 feet, and the diameter is 18 feet. So here we go again. You have to read a little carefully the question here. You're going to fill the water not to the very brim, but to 6 inches down. And you're expected to know that 6 inches is 1/2 a foot, which equals 0.5. So the height is really, in this case, h. That's what the Common Core wanted you to be able to do. And the r, of course, is 9, as you've been drilled on again and again. So now I just fill in my numbers here. Maybe we should just erase the previous one so everybody can see what's going on. Quick erasure, and then just dry it off just a tiny bit so we can write on this. And there we go. Ready to calculate this. It's pi r, which is 9 squared times 4, and that turns out to be 81 times pi times 4. And when you put that on your calculator, because when you look at the answer to the nearest cubic foot, so they're asking you to round it to the nearest foot. That is, whatever the tenth is, you go up or down according to what they have. And I go on the calculator any way you want. 81 times 4 times pi, and I reflect the button here, and I come up with 1017 and some change. So the answer is immediate. The answer is letter C for number 5. And again, if I have to comment, and most of you got it. Okay, so we're 6 minutes into this. Good, I'm hoping to get up to number 10. I've done the first 5. You're welcome to send me an email. If I went too fast, I find that hard to believe. You can slow it down or whatever you need to do, but the first 5 questions were extremely doable for a bunch of high school freshmen, which you guys are now. Okay, and number 6, when I look at that, it says there's the circumference of the circular base of a cone-shaped funnel. You should be aware of that. So they're saying that 2 pi r, by the way, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll quickly fill in the answers here. 1, B, C. Many of you probably just want to see that part. 4, 1. And we'll stop at number 10 no matter what the time frame is. So 2 pi r equals, and what did they write here? 2 pi. And then everything's into centimeters. I'll just write that above here. Okay? And when I divide both sides by 2 pi, r equals 6. Okay? I think anybody can see that. Excuse me, there's 2 pi, and there's 2 pi r equals 12 pi, sorry. Okay? And so r equals 6. All right? And I'm sure most of you got that part. So now once you know r, it's just this 2-step problem that we did with ourselves many times. So it's 1/3, there's your formula again, 6 times 6. And then the height here is 4, sort of snuck in there. I cancel the 3's, and I get 48 pi. And I look carefully, I don't want to get tricked, centimeters cubed. So the answer is clearly number 1. Okay? Again, that's a Regents problem, a fair question. I don't think they were asking you anything particularly difficult there. Again, you can always pause this if my reasoning doesn't make sense to you. And we go to number 7, which is one of the easier problems, an important concept problem. You have any old sphere, and then you have a cone, you have any old cylinder, and then you have a cone, and they're asking what the ratio is. And they're going this way to this way. And so obviously it's a 3-to-1 ratio, because one formula is, this is 1/3 pi r squared h, and this is pi r squared h. So 3-to-1. I see they're asking it the other way around, the cone to the cylinder, and the answer should be immediate. B, 1 to 3. And they asked that, as you can see, on the Common Core test. Fair enough question. I would imagine most of you saw through that right away, looking at the two formulas. In this question, you had to know a little bit of algebra, number 8. So B is done here. And in number 8, we have a cylinder, and the diameter is 14. I'm making a little cylinder here. Probably not even necessary. And the volume is V equals, and like we've done so many times before via video. Pity we couldn't do these problems in class. And everything's in cubic centimeters, which they conveniently drop. What is the height in centimeters? So right away we write R equals 7. We've done many of these problems, okay? And so I have 112 pi. The pi's are going to go away, right? Since it's pi 7 squared times h. And when I divide both of these together, you could use a calculator, or this is even done a little better. I'm writing 7 times 7 to make the math easier. The pi's cancel, and 7 goes into 112, 16. So you should have easily been able to come up with 16 over 7. Again, a problem that's been done many times. Okay, we're up to 11 minutes, so we're moving along a little faster now. So that's C. Again, worth noting it's a Common Core problem. Okay, and that was asked on a previous test. Usually when the type is small, problem was asked on a previous Common Core test. When the type is bigger in its letters, usually they're from your textbook. And here we have a rectangular fish tank with dimensions. Okay, so I can make some sort of rectangular prism, imagining a fish tank. And there are the dimensions here, and they're 2.5. The other guy's 1.5, 2, and then 1.5 in any order. And there's no conversion here. You look carefully at the answers to make sure everybody's cubed. And so when you multiply these guys together, you come up with number 4, 7.5 feet cubed. So again, like 1, 2, and 9 are just asking you, and 4 as well. That's 4. If you just know what the words mean, and there was no tricks here. There will be some trickier ones with conversions later. And so that brings me now to number 10. So we can get this over with, again, drying off, and get the ball rolling so that we can really do our math. We need to do a lot of stuff. And this is probably one of the easier. So I would say 5 out of the 10 are give me questions. And they show you a picture of a rectangular prism, and you're supposed to recognize it. So it says which best describes the prism below. And there you go, 1. And so I claim that no one was asking you to do anything particularly difficult on the first 10 questions. So let's just write this in. Answers to the test 1 through 10. You got that? And we'll continue working these along as we obviously must.